Welcome into No Punt Intended, presented by Club Fantasy. I am your host, Joe Zolo, and this week is our second to last A Look Inside team previews, and we are wrapping up with the New Orleans Saints, Green Bay Packers, and the Buffalo Bills. And joining us to break all of it down is one Jake Trowbridge, who, I mean, if you have Twitter, you've seen him. I don't really need to tell you where else he is. If you have Twitter, you've seen him drinking and talking fantasy football. He's now on Ball Blast. He's not on a Ball Blast podcast. He's everywhere. You've obviously seen his videos on Twitter, so he's going to be joining us today to break down the Saints, Packers, and Bills. Let's get into it. Welcome into No Punt Intended, presented by Club Fantasy. I am your host, Joe Zolo. Joining me, as always, Joshua Hudson and Ryan Weiss. And for the, I think, third time with us, is third time. Technically, yeah. The second time was terrible because his internet said nah. But he's back. We have checked. Whoever his internet provider is has made sure he has 1 gig speeds for tonight's show. Jake, how you doing?
I'm doing well. I've moved to high speed broadband.
Sorry, I had to do it.
Oh my god!
I had to do it once. I had to do it. Sorry, I had to do it.
That's an intro right there, guys.
I was like, it'd be fucking funny if I hit the remove button right now from the stream.
Oh my god, you threw me off so hard. I was like, what?
Jake, a miniature heart attack.
Jake had a heart attack. Oh, that was good. Go ahead. What were you saying? I apologize.
I don't know. You really know how to break a guy's stride, Joe. I think I was saying something about how this time was going to be different because I was going to be here for the entirety of it. And I already broke that promise thanks to you.
Way to go.
That was funny. It was
great.
That was okay. Yeah.
Quality entertainment in the first, what is this, 150 seconds? Great.
Yeah. I shed a quick tear there. That was good. But all right, we are here to talk about the New Orleans Saints, Jake's Green Bay Packers, who have gotten great news over the last 48 hours, and the Buffalo Bills. So let's hop into it with the New Orleans Saints. Same coach. Who the hell knows who the quarterback is? That's the biggest question on this team.
Yeah.
But okay, this is going to be a boring show if we agree on every freaking thing. So upside, downside.
Just the Saints. Just the mess that's the Saints. So.
Okay, fantastic. So Ryan and Josh both agree that the upside is Traquan Smith. The downside is Michael Thomas. The trust fall is Alvin Kamara. And the rookie to watch is Kawan Baker. If you didn't know where he attended school, that's South Alabama. I know that because someone typed it in our show doc. I don't know that off the top of my head. My sleeper is Adam Troutman. He's free, and he's the tight end 1 on his team. And my IDP is Demario Davis. He's free and old.
I was going to say, in the 4-Eye Championships charity draft, I'm currently sitting at the 20th round, and Demario Davis is still on the board, so I can vouch for that.
Don't take him. Please don't take him. Someone took him, and I'm still in the 13th round of that draft, but someone took him in the 13th round. I'm like,
he plays well in that scoring. He was on my radar towards the end, but they let other guys fall, so I didn't have to take him. But he is better than you think he is in that scoring.
He is. He's just old. So I'm waiting for the injury, and he's on the Saints. So in that defense,
ringing endorsement for this fella here at the start of the podcast.
Yeah,
Demario Davis has been great throughout his career. He is. I don't think he's great this year. But if you look at the overall Saints defense, they're garbage. Like, that defense is atrocious. So they're not going 12-4 this year. I think that's a fact. But Jake, your 2 players to watch are Adam Troutman and Marquez Callaway. We'll start with Troutman because we talk about obviously the big 3 at tight end: Kittle, Waller, and Kelsey. there's guys like Adam Troutman that if you just want to punt on tight end, you can probably take in the last round of your draft. So is Adam Troutman one of those guys for you?
He's absolutely one of those guys. I am of the mindset when I'm out on the top 3, maybe 4, if you really want to believe in Hawkinson or Pitts or whatever, then you do you, and that's fine. But if I don't get one of those guys, I am waiting until the final round to select a tight end. I don't mess with mid-round TE. So Troutman, I was already somewhat a fan of coming into his second year, even before the Michael Thomas injury. Then, of course, the injury to Michael Thomas has him out until, I don't know, November at the earliest, it seems like. So now all of a sudden, here's all these middle-of-the-field targets that have to go to somebody, and Troutman is a quality specimen. And he didn't get a ton of opportunity, obviously, last year. Because Jared Cook is better than people like to give him credit for. So he deserved those targets. But Troutman now has that opportunity. And so I'm comfortable with him if I have to wait forever at tight end.
I completely agree. I mean, I've been saying since we started these shows that mid-round tight ends are a trap. Troutman is definitely not that. I don't even see his ADP climbing to that with these Michael Thomas injury news. But he's in that perfect situation. If you remember early in the offseason where people were breaking down the perfect situation for a tight end breakout, it's the lack of a wide receiver one. It's a quarterback that's going to rely on a tight end, and either one of these two quarterbacks is going to end up relying on their tight end, especially when your outside wide receivers are Traquan Smith and Marquez Callaway. It's not a lot. And then we don't know how quickly Thomas is going to get back. There were rumors Thomas was dragging his feet on getting back last year, and that was with Drew Brees. And if that's going to continue to happen, Troutman could sneak in. At this point, I feel like he's a top 10 tight end, and he could questionably sneak into the top 5 if things broke his way. There's no competition there. And it's the tight end field is the tight end field. We know what it is. We know who the top 3 guys are, assuming they all stay healthy. The next 3 to 6 guys are all going to be battling, and you could throw Troutman in there. The difference is Troutman doesn't cost a 4th to 7th round pick. So.
Yeah, I mean, Jared Cook had, 60 or so targets last year. So, I mean, obviously, I don't think that the Saints are going to throw the football that much unless they come out and say Jameis Winston's the starter. I am of the belief that Taysom Hill is going to be the guy that starts for them. He was undefeated in his starts last year. We know coaches and their enormous egos. Sean Payton's going to go into this season saying, I can win with Taysom Hill.
That's why he let Teddy Bridgewater walk after he was perfect in his backup fill-in starts. That's why he let Teddy Bridgewater walk. Yeah, 100%.
Which is fine, but they paid Taysom Hill in that faux contract or whatever the hell.
Instead of Teddy Bridgewater.
Exactly. So that's kind of the reasoning that I'm going with here is that they're going to run it out with Hill. They're going to see what they can do, and they're going to be a very ground and pound type team. They're going to run the football with Murray and Kamara and throw in Hill and that, and they're going to try to play good defense, which, say what you will, they had a decent defense statistically last year. And I understand they're a little older, but that's the mentality I think that they're going to head into this with. Hill isn't going to throw the football 550 plus times. But I also think that they're probably going to end up 3-4 in the first 7 games. And then that's going to flip the switch because, they're going to have to catch Tampa. And maybe they make the move to Winston at that point, which then sees an uptick. But in the red zone, Troutman's a guy that has the size. He can be effective. We've seen them target tight ends in the red zone consistently in this offense. Jared Cook has, I think, 16 touchdowns in this offense the last 2 years. That's well within reach for Adam Troutman in this offense. But again, for me, it all boils down to who's going to be the starting quarterback. I agree that he's a dart throw, and I think his upside can be there, but he's not somebody that I'm reaching, quote unquote, for in those dart throws when there are other guys like a Jonnu Smith or an Anthony Ferkser that I would much rather have.
I'm interested. This is a different would you rather game we're going to play. Jake, I think you've played this with us before. Would you rather? Game I invented on this show, never been played before, ever before. Club Fantasy invented it. Yeah. So this one's different because Traquan Smith ADP is 72, and he's being drafted next to Kadarius Toney. That's pretty obvious who you're taking in that set right there. Yeah. Now, that is probably going to go up with the Michael Thomas news, but I can't imagine he's sitting anywhere above like 45 unless you're in a league with Saints fans. So he's very affordable for what he's going to be. I want to play this. It's higher or lower, kind of. So would you be higher on with Alvin Kamara? So put Alvin Kamara as the guy. Would you be higher on Alvin Kamara if Winston was in the lineup or Taysom Hill was in the lineup? Jake?
Winston.
Okay. Josh?
It doesn't matter to me who the quarterback is. He's the only good player in that offense.
Okay. Ryan?
Jameis Winston.
Jameis Winston as well. He's just not going to take rushes from Alvin Kamara. I think that's
he may not take
simple.
rushes, but at the end of the day, rushing quarterbacks tend to benefit running backs more anyway.
Yeah, but they would load the box on Taysom Hill. They wouldn't load the box on Jameis Winston.
Well, they can load the box, but then you have to account for 2 directions, 3 directions. Maybe they run 21 personnel and put Latavius Murray out there too. I mean, why do you think running backs with like Miles Sanders over 5 yards a carry? J.K. Dobbins, 6 yards a carry. Who are their quarterbacks right now?
I mean, you're going to have increased efficiency, but you're going to lose volume.
Yeah.
Kamara's never been a 250 rush guy anyway.
Nope.
I want them dump offs. I want all them dump offs.
That's it. He's never been a
baby.
200 rush guy.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
All right. So with that being said, Traquan Smith. All right, actually, let's just go receivers in general. Traquan Smith, Michael Thomas, Marquez Callaway. Who benefits them more, Jameis Winston or Taysom Hill? Jake?
Winston.
Josh?
Oh, Winston, easy.
Ryan?
I mean, I love the spirit of this game, but there's nobody on this team I like better with Taysom Hill at quarterback. Jameis Winston makes those around him better. Dominic Petrillo, who writes for us, put out an entire article about this for Football Guys, and essentially to summate his article, Taysom Hill and Jameis Winston for fantasy quarterback have the same sort of upside. They could be top 15 easy. They could even be top 5 because if Taysom Hill got to play all 17 games and with his rushing ability, the difference is Taysom Hill does it for himself. Jameis Winston is bringing other guys with him. And so that's where the big change lies in between them. So there's nobody you could possibly say here that I'm going to be like, I would rather have Taysom Hill unless I wanted to see someone fail. Like if I was rooting for
failure.
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, we have Michael Thomas as a downside. So, I mean, throw that out there for what you will.
But so the biggest thing is with that being said, and I assume the same goes for Troutman.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong on any standpoint, but it's very clear if Jameis Winston is the starting quarterback for the Saints, these receivers see an uptick in fantasy production. If, I have a lot of my redraft fantasy drafts Labor Day weekend, just before the NFL season starts. Let's presume Sean Payton gives you a starting quarterback Friday before Labor Day. So you're going into your fantasy drafts knowing that Taysom Hill is the starting quarterback for your New Orleans Saints. Are you drafting any Saints receivers? I won't say Adam Troutman because Adam Troutman is literally free. Are you drafting any Saints receivers at that point, Jake?
No, but can I be honest? I'm not drafting any Saints receivers.
Okay, perfect. There we go.
Because I don't trust. Here's the thing. I don't trust Sean Payton to stick to his word, even if he comes out ahead of time to say, he is our starter. This is what's happening. Oh, is he? Is he, Sean? Are you going to be able to put that in writing for us for the entirety of the year? Because if it's Jameis, I'm going to get falsely excited for a couple of days, and then it's going to wear off to the fact that Taysom could come in at any point and actually take over things, or it could be a 70-30 split for all we know at quarterback. And so I just don't want any piece of the receivers here.
That's such a good point.
Crazy low.
Yeah, and it's such a good point because even last year when the game where Breeze went down, Jameis took over. And what is different between sending Jameis out at halftime and then be like, well, now that we have a week to prep, I'm switching to this other guy. I don't understand it.
I love that Jake brought up, because I haven't even thought of this in a while, just because there's been one dominant guy, and it's been Michael Thomas in that offense in the passing game. Go back to like early 2000 or early 2010s Saints. You didn't know if Marquise Colston, Lance Moore, Robert Meacham, or Kenny Stills was going to have a good game. You had no clue.
Yep.
So it's a really good point to bring up, because now there's obviously it's Michael Thomas if he stays healthy, but Traquan Smith has shown flashes. Marquez Callaway, people are high on him. The one guy that was pretty consistent though, Jimmy Graham, who was a focal point for them in that offense. So I think Adam Troutman either way is going to be fine, but obviously with Jameis Winston, way better. So
it'll be interesting to me to see where they put Traquan, because the last 2 years he's been over 54% running from the slot, and the X receiver is the one that gets peppered in that offense. And I think again, this is just speculation, Jake, because you brought up Marquez Callaway being a guy that you wanted to talk about, and there's a lot of buzz that he would be the guy really that would step into that role. So that's another one that's like a dart throw that I would definitely be willing to take in the 13th, 14th round, just for shits and giggles, honestly.
On the depth. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I did throw him in there for that reason and only that reason, but the amount of confidence I have in him is it's pretty low. But like you said, he really is a dark throw. So it's like, well, why not? If you want, go for it, but I'm just not expecting too much.
Do you guys know Trevor Simeon is on their roster?
No.
Fun fact, Trevor Simeon, formerly with the Tennessee Titans, according to our lads. Apparently he spent some time on the Titans. I was just looking at their depth chart, and I see Taysom Hill is currently listed as the QB1, then Winston, then Notre Dame's finest Ian Book, and Trevor Simeon. So garbage is literally what a dumpster fire is their quarterback room right now. All right.
I'm a Jameis truther. I do not think he's a dumpster fire. I think he would be fine if they would let him play, but he also needs wide receivers. So maybe this year is not the year.
Ryan, he averaged a turnover a half.
It's great for fantasy. He also averaged 2 touchdowns a game and 325 yards a game. I'll take that.
That's great. That's great.
No, if you average a turnover a half, you're also averaging 2 turnovers a game. So
there you go.
God.
So
I didn't think I was headed for a math lesson by agreeing to be on this show, gentlemen.
Jake, you want more math? If you're in a 4 points per passing touchdown league, you can erase one of the touchdowns he throws.
Oh, God. He's going to have to throw like 8 a game again. And then that'll be okay.
Oh, no.
40 for 40 this year, gentlemen. Here we go.
I love it.
Light it up. 40 for 40. All right, let's get into the Packers here. They've had some good news this week, right, Jake? It's been a great week for Packers fans. The biggest news, Randall Cobb getting traded back to the team. He will be returning to the Green Bay Packers to end his career. No, obviously Aaron Rodgers is back with the team for 1 year. Then he's gone because he hates the Packers.
No, he hates the front office of the Packers.
He hates the Packers.
I don't think he hates the team, but just my thoughts.
Yeah, don't put words in Aaron's mouth. All right, you let Adam Schefter do that.
And Ian Rappaport in every sports reporter possible. Did you know? I can't even come up with some bullshit thing, because I feel like everything that's been said about Aaron Rodgers has been complete bullshit the last 4 months.
Yeah, it's been rough.
Everything. Okay. Upside, Ryan, you have Robert Tonyan. Josh, you have A.J. Dillon. Downside, Ryan, you have Aaron Rodgers. Josh, you have Robert Tonyan. All right, I like it. I like it a little more now. We're getting a little spicy. Trust fall, Aaron Jones for the both of you. Rookie to watch, Amari Rodgers for the both of you. I had my sleeper as Marquez Valdez-Scantling.
I saw you changed it.
Against my will, I had MVS.
I was about to say, Mr. Alan Lazard truther over there.
Yeah, man. Well, apparently, MVS is really good at catching Rodgers' attention, and for some reason, Rodgers hasn't gotten it through his thick skull that he can't catch. It's very simple. MVS can't catch. If he was naked in Antarctica, he couldn't catch a cold. It makes no sense why they keep throwing him the football. So I changed it to Randall Cobb. You want to know why? Rodgers is going to run it back, and Randall Cobb's going to have 1,200 yards and 8 touchdowns.
Oh my goodness.
85
That's
receptions.
spicy because he's never had 1,100 yards. So
Run it back, baby. Career year for Randall Cobb.
I would love it, but my goodness.
Yeah.
It's not happening.
I don't know that I have him at 85 targets, but we'll see how that plays out.
I just, in all honesty, I don't even know where he was being drafted beforehand, but
Probably the 50s.
in the 50s, nope. It is
got to be well into the hundreds, I would say.
Yeah, it is much further than he's 105 right now. He is being drafted just after Tyron Johnson and just before Deshaun Jackson. That is where Randall Cobb is sitting currently.
I mean, on a Texans team without a quarterback, it makes sense.
I mean, Chad
doesn't know because they have to throw for so much, and he's the only reliable guy there outside of Brandon Cooks.
Is he reliable? He can't stay healthy. I mean,
guys,
we don't talk about health.
Yeah,
Demetric Felton is being drafted like 10 spots ahead of him,
and that'll all change when they realize the Browns are treating him like a running back, and he can't even be coded as a wide receiver. So.
Okay, fair. I mean, I don't know who the hell the guy is. But my IDP, Darnell Savage. There's a few good guys on this team. Kenny Clark is great. Christian Kirksey, I want to put there every year. He's just hurt, so that can't work. Darnell Savage had a 70-point jump from his rookie year to his second year. Extra game. He is all over the field. I think he tops 200 easy because he was at 197 last year. He tops 200 easy and will probably be into like the 220s, 230s with just how well he plays. That secondary runs off him and Jair Alexander. He has to cover for Kevin King every time King gets burned. And Savage will also step up in the box. He's a hard-hitting safety. They send him on a few blitzes, but it's not too consistent to the point of a Jamal Adams, but he may get you a couple sacks throughout the year. But, Jake, this is your team. You said Aaron Rodgers. Ever heard of him as one of your guys to discuss. I don't know about him. Enlighten me.
Okay, well, so here's the thing. Adam Schefter is a big fan of this guy. And if you have not watched him play, you are missing out on a real treat because this guy is good as a quarterback. No, Aaron Rodgers obviously last year had this outrageous year that nobody expected for fantasy because he was looking to be towards the tail end of his career in a new offense that didn't seem to be gelling with him. Now we find out second year in the offense, it did gel with him.
Yeah.
Third year in the offense, plus his favorite buddy returning, Randall Cobb. I'm not going to have any Randall Cobb in fantasy. Personally, I won't be doing it because I don't know who the number 2 is actually going to be. But I know who is going to be the guy who will return the most value for Aaron Rodgers, and that's Randall Cobb. Because when plays break down, historically, it was always him looking for a guy like Randall Cobb.
Yes.
Before he had Devontae there to sort of, be triple covered and have somebody else flounder around. It was Randall. So it is going to help him maintain his level of play. Will the touchdowns come down? Yes. Almost certainly. It's not going to be 48 touchdowns again this year. But I'm very dangerously close to putting him back in my top 5 for QBs this year.
Damn. Josh, Ryan, any thoughts there?
Oh, I hate everything Jake just said. But 2018, 27 touchdowns. 2019, 27 touchdowns. 2020, 51 touchdowns. If you take 24 touchdowns away, Aaron Rodgers is the QB 18 last year. There's no way I would draft him in the top 10. I think he might be my QB. God, I don't even know where he is. But I'm projecting him at 35 touchdowns, and I'm already catching heat for it. I can't see it happening again. I think they're going to run the ball more. He's actually my QB 10 right now at 35 touchdowns. But it's just terrifying with what touchdown regression could do to him. And we kind of talked about this, I think, last week or 2 weeks ago with Luke. I missed last week, where it may not hit Devontae Adams, but it's certainly going to hit Robert Tonyan if he falls down that far. Do we see Aaron Jones, who he didn't regress the way we thought he was going to last year? Do we see him maybe take a step back up if they're running the ball more? It's just such a huge leap to happen for a very seasoned veteran. It's not like we didn't know who and what Aaron Rodgers was. When Mahomes threw 50, it was his first full year as a starter, and it came out of nowhere. Rodgers, we knew what he was. Obviously, we probably expected more than 27 total touchdowns out of him, especially for 2 consecutive years, but 51 is insane in this late in his career. It's just crazy to me. So it's regression, I think, is going to smash him and the Packers hard, and that's why Jake's talking about moving him to the top 5. I'm trying to find a way to get him out of my top 10.
Revenge tour 2.0, Ryan. Come on, be a believer.
There is something to that, and he walked into that. He walked into training camp with swag. You got to be afraid of what when he walked in. It's going to be interesting. I do actually think Cobb could have a better than expected season because I think Rodgers is going to lean on him and it's his guy. And Rodgers already made a smart ass comment today about them cutting Jake Kumaro last year, where he said, maybe get a hold of me before you cut the second best wide receiver on the team. And then like immediately after that, the trade was finalized for Randall Cobb. So I think there's things that can be read into that, but I certainly don't think it's 51 touchdown things.
Yeah. I've got Rodgers at 33 combined, so 32 passing, 1 rushing. And he's my QB 10 also, Ryan. So I haven't redone the projections, including Randall Cobb here yet. But I mean, for me, like bringing in Randall Cobb, I think really that takes a big hit to Allen Lazard because he plays that big slot, right? Yeah. So if they keep MVS as that field stretcher, then now Lazard kind of becomes an afterthought. Yeah. So it's going to be interesting to me. I don't obviously regression is happening. Like I would be floored if we see another 40 plus touchdown season from Rodgers. Not saying that it can't happen because we all know he's very capable of it. He's done it multiple times in his career, but it's just the likelihood of that happening. The percentages just don't match up. So, the big reason for me why I have Tonyan as a downside is because you just don't see that level of touchdown production like repeatedly when it just hasn't happened from a very unknown guy. So, and everybody talks about, oh, well, if you took this many touchdowns away, et cetera, like tight ends without the targets, if they're not scoring touchdowns, it ain't there. And everybody's talking about, well, he's going to lean on Cobb. That's going to be his guy. Like they're scheming for Tonyan to go open, which is great. But if he doesn't get open, who's he going to? He's going to triple coverage for Devontae, or he's looking for Randall Cobb or Aaron Jones out of the backfield. So,
yeah, well, last year, 11 touchdowns on 59 targets for the season. Yeah, and that made him a top 4 tight end.
Yeah.
Can I throw out a really interesting stat, though? I'm in agreement, by the way, that Tonyan is going to take a step back in the touchdown total because he just has to by default. Because Lazard was injured for almost half of the season anyhow. But Tonyan was the 3rd highest passer rating when targeted in the NFL last year. By the way, Tyron Johnson, who you were so dismissing earlier there, was number 1 overall. Just want to put that out. But he was number 3.
Can I get the minimum targets on that stat, please? What's the minimum targets? 3?
He had 26 targets, by the way. So
oh my God!
Let's give
my grandmother.
Most of Tyron Johnson's like deep anyway. Like they weren't even like short intermediate passes.
They were like insane down the field.
But Tonyan had the 3rd best. Devontae had the 6th best. Lazard had the 18th best. 3 of his pass catchers in the top 20 for passer rating when targeted, I think is impressive for all 3 of them, considering the fact that Devontae was triple covered. Obviously, that helps these guys sometimes. I'm not saying that keeps up either, but it gives me a little bit more confidence in these guys.
That's fair. I still think the one guy you trust more than anything is Aaron Jones.
Yep.
And that's why I like AJ Dillon as an upside guy. Like we've seen how much they've incorporated that second back in this offense with Jamal Williams, him now not being there. Dillon getting some run towards the end of the season was it was textbook Derrick Henry, what LaFleur did in Tennessee. It was slowly working him in, seeing what we got. And now it's all right, cool. We're going to give you 100 plus carries and let's mow down some defenses and see what happens.
I was going to say, all this does is the the pass plays that Jones would lose to Jamal Williams are coming back to him now. So he might cede carries to Dillon, but please, if it's pass plays, a catch is, when it's all said and done, worth 2.5 times what a carry is. So it's going to play out very well for Aaron Jones this year. He actually stats out as my RB4.
I don't really know what more to say on this team. I really feel like these are 3 good teams we're going to talk about here, and we're all agreeing, and it's pissing me off. Like,
well, it would have been interesting. It would have been a way
opinion.
bigger discussion if Rodgers hadn't committed already, because then we'd be talking about a lot of other things.
Aaron, you couldn't hold
J-Lo,
out,
as Aaron Rodgers likes to call him.
Aaron, you couldn't hold out for like another 48 hours so we could shit talk you for 20 minutes on the show. Like,
we can talk about Blake Bortles for 20 minutes.
There you go.
Hey, hold on. You know what? That's a great point. I said of the 3 quarterbacks that they brought into training camp when Aaron Rodgers wasn't going to be there, Kurt Benkert was the best one. Guess whose ass is still on the roster? Kurt fucking Benkert, because he's good. Ass hats, not Blake Bortles, not the other schmucks they brought in. Kurt Benkert. He's still there because
is Bortles not on anymore?
No, Bortles got cut along with the other guy that they brought on. Kurt Benkert is the only guy still there. Now, Kurt Benkert will most likely get cut because I don't think they keep 3 quarterbacks. I would be kind of surprised.
Or he becomes a practice squad guy.
He will definitely become a practice squad guy, just in case Rodgers throws a hissy fit and they need to pull Jordan Love into the starting lineup. But, I just, a little victory lap for me early on in the season. Season hasn't even begun.
I'm so proud of you. You called Green Bay's 3rd-string quarterback, Joe.
I did.
You don't often find folks out there willing to take a victory lap on an anti-Bortles take these days, so it is really refreshing to see it out in the wild.
Jake, Blake Bortles is a top 5 guy. I absolutely think he had no business playing in the NFL ever. So,
who are the other 4? Give me the other 4. I want to know who fills out this list.
2020 Cam Newton.
2020 Cam Newton. Jared Goff has no business having a job in this league. Oh my God, I just had Nathan Peterman. Strictly for the entertainment factor, he deserves to be in the league. But skill? God, no. EJ Manuel, best statistic ever known to man, only quarterback to throw an interception in 4 different countries.
See? Whoa, now. Pulled that right out of the front pocket. I like that.
America, obviously. He played 1 game in Canada, threw an interception. Played 1 game in London, threw an interception. Played 1 game in Mexico City, threw an interception. EJ Manuel, first round pick for the upcoming team we're about to talk about, the Buffalo Bills. Great segue. Now, their most recent first round quarterback has panned out a little better than EJ Manuel did.
Actually.
And hilariously just fell into their lap.
Right? All right, guys, this is so boring. Upside, Zach Moss. Can we differ a little bit and say Emmanuel Sanders? I don't know.
I mean, we're getting to the teams that are pretty well defined at this
Gabe
point.
Davis. What are we doing? What are we doing here? Downside, Devin Singletary for Ryan, Josh Allen, and that's just because of ADP. So Devin Singletary. Trust fall, Stefon Diggs. Who the fuck else you gonna trust? Rookie to watch, Marquez Stevenson. Who the fuck is that? Oh my God.
Wide receiver, rookie, wide receiver.
If not for Emmanuel Sanders, he may have actually done something this year.
If my aunt had balls, she'd be my uncle. There's no reason to draft this guy.
Nope.
They win defense. That's
they have 7. They have 7 startable receivers on this team, and Marquez Stevenson isn't one of them.
Let's all just thank our lucky stars that they didn't take a running back and ruin him the way they have ruined fantasy running backs.
Yeah,
so.
that's true.
All right. Well, my sleeper. You guys made this really easy.
Here we
Gabe
go.
Davis. You made this really freaking easy. How did none of you have?
Well,
Gabe
honestly,
Davis
that's
as
why
your
I
upside?
went with Zach Moss, because I figured you wanted Gabe Davis. It just seemed easy at that point.
So kind.
Yeah,
You're a
I
gentleman
guess,
is what you are.
Got to take one for the team every once in a while.
Yeah, I guess, thanks for the lob, Josh. Appreciate it. Appreciate it.
Lob City over here,
Stefon Diggs is going to get double covered. Gabe Davis runs a 4-3. Josh Allen throws the ball 70 yards down the field. There's my analysis on Gabe Davis for the entire season. He will play the John Brown role, and he is younger and healthier than John Brown. I don't know route running wise if he's as good as John Brown, but when you run in a straight line, how good of a route runner do you have to be? So I like Gabe Davis a lot. My IDP is Jordan Poyer. I had Tremaine Edmonds last year. Didn't want to go with him. Jordan Poyer is a top 5 DB in fantasy football. Easy. Probably one of the best in the box safeties, not named Jamal Adams, in the league as well. You just never hear about him. Also, I believe former Philadelphia Eagle that they just
we're
let
nailing
walk.
these draft picks.
Yeah, really. I'm happy he's not an Eagle because if he was an Eagle, he'd be injured for 12 games of the year as a defensive back. So I'm very happy.
Well, he was initially drafted as a corner before moving to safety, and he I think he was like a 7th round pick or something. So the odds of him sticking weren't great anyway. But
Philly doesn't have the foresight to really see good talent.
McDermott, I believe, was with the Eagles back when Poyer was initially drafted. I think.
I mean,
there's the connection with McDermott now being the head coach. So
yeah, you can just stop making excuses for your sorry ass defense. I mean, they blow.
I'm not making excuses. I'm just pointing out facts or what I'm
making reasons. It's different.
Right.
The reasons are bad. I don't know what more to say on that.
Why we go and trade for Darius Slay when he's past his prime? Course correction.
Correct. Yeah, exactly. All right, Jake, your player to watch, Emmanuel Sanders. He is 33, I believe.
Older than that, honestly.
He might be 34.
Currently 33, I think, turning 34.
Turning 34 this season. Okay.
Yeah.
Where does he fit in this pass-happy offense?
Here's my thought, and it's also simplistic, as your explanation of Gabe Davis was. I know that Cole Beasley is not getting vaccinated. I know what the penalties are for unvaccinated players getting COVID, and I know how easily Manny Sanders then slots into the equation and scoops up all that brittle. So let me just take him, and I would prefer to have him. Obviously, he's a late round dart throw too, but I know that he can be productive even after that Achilles injury, which is wild. Achilles, right? He was the Achilles man?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he suffered an Achilles injury in Denver. Yeah,
he's been banged up throughout his career, but yeah, the Achilles has been.
He seems to bounce back from injuries a lot better than most people do.
You want to know why?
Oh, they were raving about him after the Achilles. Like literally, they couldn't stop talking about it.
You want to know why? SMU built good receivers.
There you
Cortland
go.
Sutton, Cole Beasley, Emmanuel Sanders, Trey Quinn, James Prochet.
When are you going to start with the good receivers?
That's simply rude. That's just simply rude. That's simply rude.
Sanders is 34, by the way.
Okay, he is 34. Okay, so this
I'm sure
this is actually our first kind of opportunity to do a would you rather here, a legit would you rather, because we've agreed so much here. And I do agree with the take on Emmanuel Sanders. If Cole Beasley doesn't play, obviously.
Yeah, I still have Beasley well projected in my projections. And so Jake brings up an excellent point there. I don't even know what this team would look like sans Beasley because they throw to him a lot. And that's a lot of vacated targets. So monitoring that situation has huge fantasy implications.
So we're going to actually play 2 rounds of this. We're going to play Sanders' current ADP and then place him in Beasley's ADP and see if we still feel the same about him at that time.
Are we going on the assumption that there is no Beasley?
Let's go on the assumption with Sanders' current ADP where it is now at wide receiver 64, Beasley misses half the season. So you have Sanders, in theory, he's starting 8 games, but he will still be peppered into the offense in the other 8 games. Make sense?
I dig it.
All right. So he's wide receiver 64. Would you rather Emmanuel Sanders or Jamison Crowder, Jake? Again, these are guys that are literally dart throws and they're coming off of your bench. You're not planning on ever starting them, most likely, but good matchups dictate that they would be in your lineup.
Oh, I know that they re-signed him or whatever for a year or at least didn't allow him to walk, but I would rather have Sanders over Crowder.
Okay. Josh?
Same. Sanders over Crowder.
Ryan?
Sanders.
Emmanuel Sanders as well.
That's shocking considering Ryan's love for Jamison Crowder.
Ryan's down on Jamison Crowder now.
I'd say that's all went out the window at this point. It was fun until they took Elijah Moore.
Okay, I am going. Okay, wide receiver 63 is Gabriel Davis. I'm gonna skip Gabe Davis, and I will actually go just up to wide receiver 61. So, would you rather have Nelson Aguilar or Emmanuel Sanders, Jake?
Sanders, unless we find out Mac Jones is week 1 start. Otherwise, Sanders.
This is the contingency game of would you rather?
I mean, it's contingency anyway because we're speculating that
exactly
plays and So.
Josh.
Yeah, I think I would take Aguilar honestly. Yeah, which I don't love.
So what's interesting is my gut was immediately Aguilar, but I happen to have them both on the screen, and I kind of like fudge Sanders' numbers with this whole speculation we're putting in there. Sanders is way ahead of Aguilar for me, so I guess Sanders.
I don't really know because in my heart of hearts, I know Cam Newton is starting week 1. I know that, and he's probably starting for at least 4 weeks. Is my guess, because my dad put it this way. He's like, you can't go back to Cam Newton. Like you can't take out Mac Jones and put Cam Newton in because then it's hard to go back to Mac Jones, vice versa, all this stuff. But you can take out Cam Newton and then put Mac Jones in and you'll be fine.
Off topic, Cam sucks. That's question, not declarative.
It felt declarative.
It felt very declarative.
The inflection go up at all, Ryan.
Ryan, I'll make it declarative.
No, I know, and that's why I wanted to correct it because I knew where you would go with it.
Yeah.
Do the Patriots cut him mid-season if they make the switch because they can't go back to him? You think they'll ride him out?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Unless Cam throws a hissy fit and doesn't want to be a backup.
That's what I do. That's all built in. Do we think he would do that?
No.
I was going to say I didn't get that impression based on last year.
Okay.
It seems like he actually wants to be there and play for Bill Belichick.
Yeah, it just never – I don't know what it was that just knocked something loose for me in this conversation where it was a very good point. You can't go back to him. And it's like, well, what does he do at that point? Because does he want to be a backup on
Well, but that's the point.
Whatever
it's like
this
if
team
the team
is?
cuts him, he's going to be a backup anywhere he goes. Or he's going to be sitting on his couch like us.
Yeah, but he could go and maybe play somewhere. Whereas
no, he can't.
The Patriots. Well, I guess that's the point. Yeah, because he was so bad that the Patriots made this. Yeah. Never mind. Emmanuel Sanders.
Like, where are you going with this conversation?
I'm going to use the reverse Jake gif and say not smart on that one for you, Ryan.
Yeah.
Smart.
I talked myself into something and then talked myself back out of it in the same roundabout conversation.
Is that
Joe?
Jake?
If you've ever seen Brooklyn Nine-Nine,
yes, I was going to say Jake Peralta. I figured is what you were. Smart.
Yeah.
Oh,
Andy Samberg, comedic genius.
I'm glad we got to hear
I
your
love
entire
that show.
thought process. Basically, unbroken though.
There you go.
It was helpful. I think everybody benefited from it. Quite frankly,
some people you just need to talk things through.
Yeah,
it's okay.
Can you imagine thinking that and then saying, "Oh, I think I should say this," and then
yes, I can imagine exactly that. Because I did it.
Ryan, now would have been a great time to be on Mozilla Firefox and
just accidentally have everything cut out.
Oh yeah, Jake, you didn't know this. Ryan was having stream troubles about a month and a half ago. He was using Mozilla Firefox like a grandpa.
I am a grandpa. Well, I'm not a grandpa.
Oh no, he's
I'm an old man. I did old man things.
Mozilla Firefox.
That's the name I haven't heard in many years.
It's like using the new version of Internet Explorer.
Wait, should I not be on that right now?
Jeeves at this point. You're like the person who goes to Ask Jeeves and types in, "Where do I find Google?" and clicks enter. That's what using Mozilla Firefox is.
I type in, "Hello, Jeeves, take me to Google." I hope you're doing well today.
All right. Emmanuel Sanders or Amon-Ra St. Brown on the Lions, Jake?
Sanders. Yeah.
Josh?
I actually think I would go St. Brown here. I don't know. There's just a lot of intrigue around him. I don't love that offense at all, but I think he's going to be productive for them in what constitutes productive for the Lions. If that makes sense.
So not productive for the rest of the NFL. Thank you, Ryan
Sanders.
And I love that we have someone actually joining in on this. Please keep joining in. Sleepy Sloth. Sanders. Thank you. Yeah, Josh is an idiot. It's Emmanuel Sanders.
I mean, it's a late round card throw at this point.
Who is throwing Amon-Ra St. Brown the ball? Josh, who's throwing it to him?
I know that Jared Goff sucks. I get it. They
Ryan.
made offensive line improvements. We'll see.
And he made fantasy relevant wide receivers plenty of times in the past, Joe. All right. Robert Woods has been an active member of our fantasy rosters over the last few years with Jared Goff there.
Thank you.
I'm not equating Amon-Ra St. Brown to him, by the way, to Woods. I'm not doing that. Just say.
Jake, Amon-Ra St. Brown's like third or fourth on the depth chart. Robert Woods was one.
I mean, is he though?
For now.
I mean, you really think he can't beat out Rashad Perriman or Tyrell Williams? Really?
Who's the head coach there in Detroit?
Kneecaps.
Dan Campbell. What is the name on the front of their jersey? What city do they play for again? Just real quick, Detroit. They don't make proper, correct decisions. I still to this day think the Detroit Tigers.
The decisions will be made for them when Perriman and Williams aren't available week 1 due to injury. So
okay,
let's be real.
That's fair. Sleepy Sloth says you have an Eagles hat on, so what the fuck do you expect?
Hey,
and I agree.
I get it, dude. I get it.
I agree.
We suck. I was excited for training camp, so I wanted to rep my team.
I agree. I love it. And Dave said Goff make Cooks, Woods, and Cup wide receiver ones 2018.
Cooks was not a wide receiver one, Dave. Sorry about that, buddy.
Okay, so Dave, you make good points. They were all fantasy relevant. That was probably the best Rams offense they've had. He also had Todd Gurley behind him in a really good offensive line. Detroit doesn't have that, and he has Dan Campbell as his head coach, not the offensive guru at the time, Sean McVay. All right. Emmanuel Sanders are the last one that we got here before we move him up to Cole Beasley's slot. Sterling Shepard. Jake.
Easily Sanders. I want nothing to do with Shepard this year.
Josh.
Oh, I will take Shepard all day. He's the most consistent Giants receiver, yeah.
Sanders.
Not consistently good, though, right, Josh? Just consistent.
I mean, he's going to get 6.5, 7 targets a game. Like, I'll take that.
I love the half targets really make it for me. The half targets really put it over the top.
That's just statistically average. I mean, he's going to get 6, 7 targets a game.
Personally, I like when my receivers get
13 every 2 games.
Yeah, I like when my receivers get a 0.7 extra targets per game more than the other guy. That's really the sweet spot for me.
It's where it is, baby. It's where it lies, right there.
No, I do like Sterling Shepard from a standpoint where I just think Daniel Jones just has zero confidence, and that's the only guy he has some confidence in getting the football to, because he's not more than 10 yards down the field. So I think it's dump city to dump city to Sterling Shepard. Saquon Barkley's hurt again. So
he's on PUP. He's on PUP. We all knew he was going to be on PUP to start the season.
Exactly.
It's fine. He'll be. It doesn't matter that one of his quads is 3 times the other size of the other right now. That will get remedied in the next month, and he'll be fine.
Saquon Barkley will play 9 games this year.
Don't put that into the ether. Why would you do something like that?
Jake, do you have any shares of Saquon Barkley?
I do in the Raz Bowl that I just drafted in, and that's the only one.
Okay, that's your mistake for drafting Saquon Barkley. If you had him in Dynasty, I can understand. But that's your mistake for drafting Saquon Barkley in the Raz
ride
Bowl.
It in the 6th overall spot. I'm going to take that to the championship.
I hope you do.
Thanks for having some sort of.
I'm rooting for you, Jake.
Jake,
Thanks,
I'm rooting for you too. It's just going to have to be on the legs of some people not named Saquon Barkley to actually.
I like Barkley fine this year, and I don't think injuries are going to be an issue. I think the Giants team in general is going to be an issue. So
that take I agree with.
Zeke, JT, Nick Chubb, Austin Eckler, Aaron Jones, who are being all drafted after him, will score more points than Saquon Barkley this year. Not a doubt in my mind.
Stop it. You stop it.
Not a doubt in my mind. There's not a doubt in my mind they score more than him.
Every single one of them outscores Saquon Barkley. You talking crazy?
Not talking crazy. Not talking crazy.
Crazy.
Forget the running back 36 might outscore Saquon Barkley because only
I was
play
gonna
half
say,
the season.
I agree with everyone on that list except Chubb. I don't think in PPR Chubb will see the receptions to outscore Saquon Barkley.
Yeah, that's fair.
I agree with that.
All right. Now we are going to do the second half of this. Move Sanders up to Cole Beasley's current spot, and we're assuming Cole Beasley is not playing the entire season. So Emmanuel Sanders starts 17 games in the slot for the Buffalo Bills. So currently Beasley is wide receiver 53. There isn't actually too much of a gap between these guys. 11 spot difference between these guys. So, and obviously Sanders in a lot of leagues is not even being drafted because he's 190 overall. So if you're in a really small league, he's not even being drafted. And we're going to fly through this because I know Jake has to get out of here at 7:55. So let's start with Darnell Mooney or Emmanuel Sanders. Jake.
Mooney. Give me that moon dog.
Josh.
Mooney to the frickin' moon.
Ryan.
So this is the assumption that Cole Beasley does not play. Like we know this before the season.
Does not play at all.
Sanders all day.
Ooh.
Darnell Mooney is the sexiest route runner not named Devontae Adams and Keenan Allen. He is hot. He also for the fact, yeah, literally.
Muy caliente.
for the fact that I think Jalen Ramsey is so overrated, and he made Jalen Ramsey his bitch on one of the routes he ran last year. Every time I watch that video, I have to excuse myself to the bathroom because it's ridiculous.
I love Darnell Mooney, but that is the only highlight anybody shows of him from last year. It's the one time where he didn't even catch the ball because Nick Foles
couldn't hit him.
I know. But that's the only highlight. You don't see any of the other magnificent route running.
Because every good route,
Jake.
Jake, every good route he ran, he didn't catch the ball because it wasn't near him. What was it? That deep V route he ran on Thursday Night Football, I think, was gross.
Yeah.
And Nick Foles underthrew him by 10 yards. There was no one near him. Oh, God, gross.
I do love him, though.
Utter grossness. Okay, Emmanuel Sanders or Corey Davis, Jake?
Sanders.
Josh?
Think I would take Sanders here.
Ryan?
Sanders
is not even close. Corey Davis is not worth the draft pick. Emmanuel Sanders or T.Y. Hilton? Jake?
Because T.Y. is going to play like 3 games, I'll go Sanders.
Josh?
Same, Sanders.
Ryan?
Manny Sands.
Could T.Y. Hilton put up more in 2 games against the Texans than Emmanuel Sanders does in 17 games against the entire NFL?
Absolutely.
Is it possible? Could T.Y. Hilton drop 100 spot on the Houston Texans in 2 games this year? It's possible.
I mean, that's the thing. So if you're taking these guys, you said they're going off the board in the 50s, right?
They're in the 50s. You're sitting somewhere in like about the 11th, 12th round here.
So they're your wide receiver 4 to 6.
Yeah.
You don't know when or if you can start Sanders. If you draft T.Y. Hilton,
you know when you can
start him.
That you are plugging him into your lineup.
There's 2 weeks in Houston and home against Houston.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean that in all honesty, T.Y. Hilton could drop 100 points in 2 games against the Houston Texans. I mean that with full sincerity. He owns that team. It's unbelievable. Okay. Last guy. This one I actually think is interesting. Emmanuel Sanders or Marvin Jones Jr., Jake?
I love Marvin Jones this year, and I actually think he's going to be the highest scoring receiver on the Jaguars for this year. So give me Marvin Jones and his boom and his bust. I'll take it all.
Josh?
Yeah, I think I would go Jones here.
Ryan?
It's still Sanders for me.
Okay. I do love Marvin Jones, so I will go with Marvin Jones. I did take Trevor Lawrence in the 4-eyed championship as my second quarterback, and I took DJ Chark, and I am highly contemplating taking Marvin Jones as well. Yeah,
I've got Chark as like my wide receiver 22, I think, and I'm like, oh, I don't love this at all. Yeah,
Guys,
I don't know. Something just did not work in those projections. I'm going to have to go back to those.
Here's my hesitancy of taking Marvin Jones. I also have Travis Etienne. So if the Jaguars blow,
you're just going all in on Urban Meyer, man.
Well, I was going to take Gabe Davis, but I already have Josh Allen and Stefon Diggs. I'm like, can I really go all in on two teams?
Well, that's an offense I would much rather have more.
I was just going to say, you're literally saying the exact same situation, but with one very good team and one other Urban Meyer-led Jacksonville Jaguars.
No, screw it. Double, triple, quadruple down Tim Tebow, last round pick for you. Just
Tim Tebow will be my starting tight end over Jonnu Smith, who I drafted in the 9th round. That is straight facts. All right, Jake, I know you got to head out. Any last words to say?
No, just thank you guys for having me on. This is always a blast. I'm glad that my broadband held up this time around.
Yes!
What?
Oh, no! He did it again. He did it again.
I mean,
Jake, thank you so much.
You set me up for that one. Come on.
Apparently now we have a running joke every time Jake comes on the show, and I'm absolutely
I'm gonna forget it every single time, which is the worst part. I will never see it coming because it's goddamn dope. But even despite that shenanigan there, I appreciate you guys having me on. Love it. So you guys
go follow Jake at Drake
Jake
Trowbridge and check him out on Ball Blast and also on Drinking and Talking Fantasy on YouTube. It's great.
Woo! Now, Jake, are you guys live right now at 8:00 or are you pre-recording?
We are pre-recording.
I thought
we will not be live. I'll have some time to freshen up, just a splurge before we go on there and look good for the YouTube afterwards.
And so bathroom break and reload the beer, right?
Yes.
There you go.
Yes, in that exact order. So
perfect.
There you go.
All right, you guys have a great one.
Have a great day, Jake. Thank you, man.
So the one thing I just wanted to hit on about Emmanuel Sanders in this whole thing. So I had Cole Beasley at 109 targets. Obviously, I have Diggs somewhere above 160. If I still had Manny Sands at 80-something with Beasley playing, if Beasley is gone, Manny Sands could literally healthy hit 125 to 130 targets, which is insane as the slot wide receiver in that offense because Gabe's going to be on the outside. It's going to be Diggs. They're not using their tight end. Everyone wants to pump up
Dawson Knox,
and then they brought in one of the kids from Seattle, I think. It's not happening.
Hollister.
Yeah, it's not happening. They don't throw to their running back. It's not happening. So if there's no Beasley, Sanders could end up being the steal of fantasy football this year in his age 34 year on this high-powered offense, and I'm there for it.
I have Beasley at 103 targets.
Okay. What do you have Sanders and Gabby at?
I only have him at 47. I have Gabe Davis at 74.
How many passes do you have them throwing? Because we sound way off.
I have 608.
I was going to say I'd peg him at about 600.
I have 629. They threw 596 last year. I gave them 34 extra with the extra game. So
I bumped him up to 608. I think it's a pretty even split in terms of target distribution between the tight ends and the running backs. I have the running backs at 97 targets and the tight ends at 87.
There's where our gap is. I only have running backs at 80, tight ends at 75. So I was just trying to figure out where we're off somewhere. So I have them. Josh, you're the one who brought this stat up. They either ran, I think it was the most 4 wide receiver sets.
Yeah. They rocked 4 wide receiver sets last year.
Now you have Cole Beasley, self-proclaimed best slot wide receiver in the NFL, and Emmanuel Sanders, who is a very technically sound slot wide receiver. I feel like they're built to run 4 wide again this year. So that's why I have them targeting the wide receivers so much. But if Beasley's gone, it's going to be hard for me not to project Emmanuel Sanders as a top 36 wide receiver this year.
I think they like what they have in Gabe Davis. Like they use him in a different way.
Oh, I agree. I just don't think they affect each other. And
that's kind of my point with this whole thing is that if Davis has his role pretty well defined. So if Beasley for some weird reason ends up missing extended time or decides to retire because of all the things that are going on with the whole COVID protocols, whatever. I think that Sanders kind of slots into that slot role. Davis is still going to have his role, but I don't think it's ultimately going to bump Sanders up to 120 some odd targets because Diggs is still going to get 160.
Yep.
So, I mean, maybe they end up throwing more to Devin Singletary out of the backfield. Maybe Zach Moss does get a little bit more involved. He has pass catching prowess, and I feel like that a lot of people are really sleeping on Zach Moss because he was very unappealing last year. And he was hurt, banged up. And if he's healthy this year, he's going to see a lot more volume, probably the type of volume that we all anticipated him getting last year.
And that's why I put Singletary as my downside for that exact reason is if they finally start to lean on one running back, it's going to be Moss.
Oh, yeah. 100%. Absolutely.
If Cole Beasley doesn't go, you talked about them running 4 wide receiver sets. Obviously, Sanders slides into the slot. His name was mentioned.
That's going to bring face?
Hold on. No. Not Marquez Stevenson.
No, that's not who I'm thinking of. Isaiah
McKenzie.
Isaiah McKenzie, yes, could be a guy. But I was more so thinking of Aaron Rodgers' second best receiver on his team that the team decided to cut. Jake Kumerow is on this team right now. And I harp on the receivers that no one thinks are good. Jake Kumerow can actually run routes and catch the football.
I mean, if Aaron Rodgers is calling you the second best wide receiver on the team, there's something to that.
And when your first best receiver is Devontae Adams, you're not going to compete with that.
No.
So he's basically calling you the best receiver on the team that isn't a Hall of Famer. Because Devontae Adams, by the end of his career, should probably be in the Hall of Fame if he keeps with this trajectory.
Definitely going to approach it if he keeps this same
trajectory. He's going to be pretty damn close if not. So you're literally Aaron Rodgers. You're the best receiver according to him that isn't almost could be a Hall of Famer by the time his career ends. I don't know why Jake Kumerow hasn't gotten a shot. I don't think he's the biggest guy in the world, might not be the fastest, but if he's running as the 4th guy in this offense, he's fast too. He can get down the field, at least on deep routes. So if you're telling me he's going to run opposite, or he's going to run that 4th, opposite slot of Emmanuel Sanders, and he's going to have no attention on him,
could play out well.
It could play out well. It just, and a guy too, I'm not talking don't fucking draft Jake Kumerow. We have no clue where he's going to play out. But he's probably going to cost, $1,000 in DFS 1 week? If you're sitting there,
I think the minimum is $3,000, but I get your point.
Is the minimum 3?
Yeah.
Okay, so whatever the minimum is, Jake Kumerow will be the minimum. That's what he's going to be. So if you wanted to forget Derrick Henry's playing the Jaguars 1 week and Jake Kumerow's playing the Texans, I don't know. Again, that's something to think of Kumerow's not going to be a guy you consistently put in your fantasy lineup for redraft or even dynasty, but could potentially be a guy where if Beasley doesn't play, or even say Gabe Davis is hurt for a game and Jake Kumerow's that next guy.
Yeah.
Kumerow is not Gabe Davis is going to get a little attention because he showed some flashes. Diggs will get double covered the whole game, and I guarantee you the second or third guy is going to slide to Emmanuel Sanders, leaving Jake Kumerow on utter crap. And Jake Kumerow plays very well against utter crap because he blasts in the preseason. Blast in preseason, blast in training camp. He's playing against crap in those scenarios, in theory. So a name to think about. I love that Jake had brought up Jake Kumerow because I do think Jake Kumerow is very good. Any last words on the Bills here?
No, not really.
No.
Ah, fantastic. Great.
It's pretty simple. Fade the tight ends. Your running backs are dart throws, and go get Stefon Diggs.
Definitely don't draft either of the running backs as someone you're relying on starting because you're not going to know till about 3 weeks in if you can play either one of them. So,
they're definitely your 4th guy, probably, give or take.
I think Moss is creeping up where you almost have to draft him as your 3rd guy. Is my issue.
Okay, I think he was in the 30s, 36 or something.
So I know this is
36.
I know these settings are not normal for any league. It's the 4-eyed ones. Someone took Moss as their 3rd running back in the 15th round, and someone took Singletary as their 4th running back in the 16th round. But
I was going to say Singletary fell quite a bit in hours, and I was I was targeting him when I ended up snagging Latavius Murray, and I was like, hey, I'll settle for that. That's not a problem on my end. But I have Zach Moss in my settings at wide receiver 29. So I look at him as a 3. So honestly, I'm okay with that.
And just to give you reference of names around Zach Moss, The only weird thing with scoring in running backs in this league is you get half a point if they get a first down, whether it be rushing or receiving. That's not really going to do a crazy bit in projections because that's really hard to project. So just to give you names of where Zach Moss and Singletary are being taken around, because there's three running backs in between each other, between Zach Moss and Singletary that were taken. It was Leonard Fournette, David Johnson, Nyheim Hines. Like, David Johnson's terrible. Leonard Fournette just depends on the game, obviously, and Nyheim Hines, we have to wait and see.
He's a pass catcher. That's what
he's a pass catcher, but he may not be utilized as much in that role this year because Jonathan Taylor is very clearly now the RB1 there.
Yep. And he's very good at football. Just, some names, like the few names taken before Zach Moss, A.J. Dillon, James Conner, Melvin Gordon, Kenyon Drake. None of these guys are starters. The last guy that was taken that was a starter before Zach Moss was Damian Harris, and that was 5 rounds before Zach Moss was drafted.
Melvin Gordon in here, an interesting comparison, because Gordon technically is a starter, but we all obviously know what's likely to happen there. Yeah. But is Melvin Gordon with a probably guaranteed 55% share better than Moss, who might see a 50-50 split on a team that would prefer to run with their quarterback? Like, that's an interesting comparison. Like, if I see both of them, I don't want either, but I think I would go Gordon.
I would go Melvin Gordon because if someone's going to get the goal line carries, maybe Javonte Williams comes in.
Williams is also really good in the goal line.
He is.
Well, that's the thing. Williams is good at everything, like literally everything.
But for the standpoint of if you're assuming Melvin Gordon's playing, he will be the one getting goal line carries at that point. Zach Moss will not get them.
Yeah, I'm catching
Josh
heat right
Allen
now.
Is getting them.
I'm catching heat right now because I have Williams as my RB40 this year, but that's because I have it as a 50-50 split on a team that isn't going to be that good, in my opinion. If I knew Williams was the starter, he'd skyrocket up. If I knew Gordon was the starter, he'd skyrocket up. But right now,
I have Williams and Gordon within 6 points of each other.
So, and I will say, I was the one that took Melvin Gordon in the 13th because I took Javonte in the 6th.
Great pick.
Well, I took Javonte in the 6th. I'm like, okay, I'll probably have Gordon for the first half and Javonte for the second half. And then
based on the goal line stuff, Josh, you said you have him 6 points. I have him within 18 points, but I also have Gordon scoring 2 more touchdowns than Williams. So
I have Williams at 7 and Gordon. I have him pretty well split. I have Williams with 1 more receiving touchdown.
There you go.
That's it.
So it's interesting at that point with the receivers, and
they're just going to kill each other. But I mean, that's where best ball, daily, those guys are going to be more valuable than they are in redraft right now, because redraft, they're going to be a headache this year, and headaches shouldn't be what you're looking for.
Yeah, my running back room is a big headache in this league, and my best option currently, according to Sleeper, is Kenneth Gainwell. So I am not sitting pretty at the running back position. But I believe
I'm probably the wrong person to ask, but I think Gainwell is going to have a better season than a lot of people.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Yeah, no, I am. I think I'm going to take Gainwell with my next pick if he falls to me in 3. Just on the off chance Miles Sanders gets hurt, and obviously we know Memphis running backs are good at the game of football. That's pretty obvious. So I'm a big fan of Kenny Gainwell. All right. That is the end of our show. Oh my God. We have one more show left before you never see our faces again for a month. Do you
Not
like
totally
how I phrase
true.
that? Not totally
we'll
true.
Be popping in on occasion.
Yes, we'll be popping in. But next week is our final show of our Look Inside previews, and we are going out with a bang is what it's written in the show doc. I had to make sure I emphasized it. Joe Bryant, the founder of Football Guys, is joining us to talk Chiefs and Bucks. We do have a slight connection within Football Guys that helped us land Joe Bryant.
Thanks, Ryan.
We just keep bringing my bosses on. So
it's okay.
Yeah. And I am also told in here that we, in parentheses, gotta spin the wheel and give away free shit to our YouTube subscribers, we just crossed 150. Boom, boom.
Thank
we're
you
at
all. Yeah.
We're at 154 according to what I'm looking at right now. So please, if you haven't already, subscribe. But we are giving away free shit, apparently.
Yeah, and there's plenty of free shit to give away. Let me tell you. All right,
looking like the Wheel of Fortune wheel with all the little small pieces of pie out here.
There it is.
There are a lot of things here. Oh,
Very
wow.
Cool.
There's
a whole bunch of jerseys and all kinds of other memorabilia. So basically, this is how I set everything up.
Okay.
I have a whole freaking treasure trove of giveaways that I've purchased over the summer through Pristine Auction. And I decided that we're going to build up the YouTube page and we're going to get some more subscribers and people that want to win their fantasy leagues, because that's what we're here for, right?
Yeah.
So each thing that I purchased is on a different tier. So you have your tier 1, you have your tier 2, and tier 3. So you'll see some of these are repeated, not just once, but twice. Some of them, like a Denzel Mims jersey, maybe not everybody wants, but hey, it's a signed Denzel Mims jersey. But then there are some things, like maybe a Chris Godwin signed Bucks jersey, that some people really want. So we're going to have some fun with this. So every time we hit a milestone, so we hit 150, I consider that a milestone. So every 50 subscribers, when we hit 200, when we hit 250, when we hit 300, we're going to spin the wheel and we're going to find a lucky subscriber that wins. And we're going to send out some merchandise. So do us all a favor. YouTube.com/Club Fantasy FFL. Hit that subscribe button. Drop us a screenshot, please. People have privacy settings on YouTube, and when you say, "Oh, I've subscribed," but I don't see that you physically subscribed, I don't know that you subscribed.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can just hit us up on Twitter, our DMs are open. You can hit me up personally at the One Hudsonian. DM me. I'm okay with it. Let me know that you subscribe so I can add you to our list and I can spin the wheel, find out who's going to be the lucky recipient of said merchandise, and we're going to go from there. So this week, our lucky winner, I wrote it down somewhere, is
you know where would have been a
Jared
good
Dangle.
place. Oh, okay. Who?
Jared Dangle. He is
oh my God,
he's
he's one of our interns.
Okay, there you go. Well, he's subscribed, so you know how I can get a hold of him. Perfect.
Hey.
So, Jerry, I'm going to spin the wheel here, and this is what you're going to win. Everybody ready?
Let's do it.
Let's
do it. Oh, I'm excited to text him right now once he wins.
That's awesome.
Yeah, he's literally one of our ticket sales interns.
Oh.
What is that?
There it is.
ETN?
Yep.
Oh,
We got a signed Travis Etienne Clemson jersey, which, by the way, is actually in the mail on its way to me. So when I get it, I will ship it out to you. So, Joe, I need you to get me the address.
Hunt this man
I know
down.
where to send it.
Well, if it gets here if it gets to you in time before he leaves, you can mail it to me and I can bring it into the office to him.
Sounds good.
But I will.
I should have it sometime next week. So.
I will let him know that he won. That's awesome. Pretty sweet. He's I was hoping it'd be something Bills, because he is a Bills fan.
There is a Zach Moss jersey on there. So.
Yeah, that would have been cool. But hey, Travis Etienne Clemson jersey is pretty damn good as well.
I mean, to be fair, if he really wants the Moss jersey,
I was going to say,
I'll give him that one. I'll keep the Etienne. I was very tempted to keep it for myself. So
I'll check with him tomorrow. I just know he's a Bills fan. So
all right,
all good. But Jerry, appreciate you subscribing, supporting us, and I'm more than willing to throw my dollars your way in appreciation of that. So
I love Jerry.
If you're a first-time listener, viewer of what we're doing, tweet us out, share us on Facebook, Instagram, whatever the hell platform you use all the time. Let people know that they have benefits to subscribing to us, and I will keep you guys informed. Let's roll, man.
Still,
we're adding a lot of shows in the fall. So.
Yep.
Yeah. Big shout out to Jerry as well. He's one of our interns, but he landed a full-time job with AEG Sports out in LA, working for the Ontario Reign and Los Angeles Kings.
Congrats, man.
Very cool.
One of my favorite interns this year, just work ethic, awesome stuff. So Jerry, if you're watching, appreciate you, man. But congratulations on the ETN jersey. And again, that is literally for anyone that subscribes on YouTube. If we see it and you send it to us, you will be in the drawing and you will win one of these jerseys when we hit 200, 250, just like Josh said, every 50 we're going for. And
so I will say, when we hit 500 and when we hit 1,000, I have some big time giveaways. And when I say big time, I have a signed AJ Brown Titans jersey. I have a signed Stefon Diggs jersey. I have a signed Calvin Ridley jersey.
And a personal visit from Josh Hudson.
Oh.
And a signed Darren Waller Raiders jersey.
Woo!
So you can win some good stuff. I'm just saying.
Big ones. So tell all your friends so we can hit that faster.
Yeah.
And you get the opportunity to hop in there and potentially get a nice little jersey. And who knows, maybe we'll have more than one winner on those days.
I'm adding new stuff every month.
I was about to say, I heard 4 jerseys and 2 milestones. So I don't know about you, but I think maybe a couple winners on those days.
There we go.
Once again, final show next week for our Look Inside previews, going out with a bang with Joe Bryant, one of the founders of fantasy, founder of Football Guys.
There we go.
Is joining us to talk Chiefs and Bucks. I was like, I was reading Women of Fantasy Football as I was saying Football Guys, so I'm like, Fantasy Football Guys. Nope, just Football Guys.
I mean, you're right, but
I'm right, but so we only have one more show, obviously, before Women of Fantasy Football begins. The guests will be announced here shortly. I don't know what shortly means, but my guess is within the week. And along with our raffle items as well to help raise money. It'll be tiered from different positions, so tight end, receivers, running backs, quarterbacks. You don't know what those things are or who they are going to be from, but it's going to be each week is going to be a different position group, and we'll have more than one giveaway each week, so be sure to stay tuned. And of course, all this is to help raise money for the Women's Sports Foundation. You basically have to buy, you could buy one raffle ticket for $10. You could buy $5. Excuse me. Thank you. You could buy You could buy 100 raffle tickets for $5. Obviously, the more raffle tickets you buy, the better your odds if you've ever played in a raffle before. Again, all of it goes towards the Women's Sports Foundation. We don't get a dime of it. We don't see any of it goes to the Women's Sports Foundation. But I can give you one guest because apparently we dropped it on the Fantasy Whisperers mock draft marathon. Laura Oakman from Fox Sports will be one of our guests, I believe, in week 3. Correct?
Yep.
Week
August
3,
25th.
which is August 25th. Thank you. As well as the signed Jonathan Taylor jersey in week 3. So if you were listening earlier, running backs are the giveaway in week 3. So stay tuned. All of that is going to be awesome. Head over to clubfantasyffl.com to read all of the Look Inside team previews. If you've missed any, obviously listen back to these shows wherever you listen to your podcast, or you can watch the VOD back on YouTube as well. All of our shows are posted there as well. For the One Hudsonian, for the Fantasy 5, and for myself at Joe_Zolo, you can follow Club Fantasy on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. The URL is clubfantasyffl.com. Always remember, defense wins championships. Offense wins fantasy football. Next week, we wrap up our Look Inside team preview shows with the one, the only Joe Bryant, founder of Football Guys. He is joining us to talk Chiefs and Bucks. It is our last show before Women of Fantasy Football begins. We will see you next week.